with you my 5 top tips of how you can boost bookings if you're halfway through the launch, or you're just stuck for kind of what can you do, what else can you do. You've tried everything, you've done all the things, you've been everywhere, you showed up consistently, and you're still finding like you could do with that boost. So just before you kind of lose the will, I suppose, because sometimes you feel like you're about to lose the will of showing up because nothing is working, I suggest you try these 5 things. The very first one is share social proof. So the first one is social proof. And that could be a testimonial or a case study of working with you. If it's a particular program or course that maybe you're running for the first time, and you don't have sort of a direct testimonial about it, about someone's gone through it, share a testimonial of what it's like to be working with you, or what it's like to have had, you know, some training from you. Whatever it is, it's still talking about you as the coach, as the mentor to someone, and it's still important to kind of give that picture to someone new, or someone you know, who hasn't worked with you before directly, to give that picture of what it's like to be, you know, under your influence, under your expertise, support, if that makes sense. So that's number one. So number one is social proof. So even if you've already done it and you feel like you've talked about, you know, testimonials and past clients before, do it in a different way, showcase it in a different way. So if you've had a snippet of like a text message sent to you or an email sent to you, then do like a visual graphic on Canva or something. There's loads of free tools and things within Canva, or I'm sure there's other ones as well. I'm a bit of a fan of Canva, I must admit, so I always go, that's my first call, port of call for any graphics and design stuff. So yeah, you know, there's loads of stuff, free tools within Canva that you can go and kind of just showcase that testimonial in a different way. Maybe add an image or add a sort of a graphic or a GIF or something to showcase it in a different light, maybe from a different perspective. Okay, so that's one. Second one is objection handle in your content. And what that means is not kind of a nasty way. You're not trying to manipulate anyone to make a decision. You're actually trying to think of the type of objections that someone might have to investing, to booking on, to kind of making that next step to work with you closer on another level. So have a think of the type of things that might be coming up to them. So the most popular ones will be sort of the time commitment required, and also investment money-wise. So, you know, how do you overcome those? So what I like doing is showcasing the value that people get from the course, the experience, the program, and just really building that up to, you know, to a high level, as high level as you can, and essentially, you know, justify the time that's needed. So for example, if it's like a new habit creation, you know, mindfulness, including mindfulness in your life, for example, that's a new habit creation. So it's going to take certain level of time and preparation and impact into someone's day-to-day to try and create time for this new habit to appear. So, you know, be completely honest and transparent on that element, that it's not going to be an overnight thing. It's not going to, you know, just because you've signed up to something, it's not going to change your world, or you know, by tomorrow. It's not going to be a quick fix. So sort of justify the fact that, you know, you need that number of weeks or months to develop, to change your ways of thinking or your ways of doing something, because you have to rewire your brain, rewire your, you know, change things in your lifestyle so that it doesn't feel like you've been robbed or or shortchanged by something. So it comes more naturally and more in tune and in line with your way of working and all of those kind of things, really. So justify, you know, why someone might be having an objection to something, for example, you know, time commitments, and sort of justify the value and the fact why it's at that particular length and not any other length, sort of thing. So talk about the sort of the objection handling in your copy, in your content, by adding value and adding and showcasing the good things about what it is that you're offering. I'm just going to check that I'm live in the right place. I always forget to do this as well, sorry. Yes, I am. Phew, good. Okay, wonderful. I'm going to minimize the screen now because it's very distracting to see myself. Okay, so that's 2. So number 3, tip number 3 is call to action. You would not believe how many people forget to add the call to action. You post something, you add information about your course or your launch or your event, and they don't add a call to action. What is it do you want them to do? If they read to the bottom of that post, however long it is, what is it you want them to do? Make sure you add that call to action. Come along, join in, let's jump on the call. You're trying to get them to do something, you know, engagement. If you want to up engagement, get them to leave a GIF, show a GIF of how you're feeling about something, or share an emoji, or, you know, get them to do something, whatever it is that you want them to do. Make sure you add that call to action in there. Don't assume that your audience will know what you want them to do just by reading the post. So add that call to action in there and make sure you are clear of what you want them to do as well. Don't try it. And one thing about the call to actions is don't try and overcomplicate it by adding several calls to action, because giving them a choice is also not good. It's just as bad as not giving them any call to action at all. So try not to give them choice. Give them one call to action. If you feel like there could be another call to action, do a separate post on that with the other call to action. So keep the call to actions as simple as you can and as clear as you can to make it really clear of what you want your audience to do. So that's tip number 3, call to action. Sorry, I've got a list here just so I don't lose track of what I'm talking about and my numberings. And that's why I keep looking down and checking my notes. Okay, so we're on to tip number 4. I'm just going to have a sip of my decaf coffee. Tip number 4 is the use of hashtags and keywords. If you're overwhelmed and unsure at this point of what those are, in shortest possible sense that I can explain it, keywords are the words that someone your ideal client will be putting in Google search field to find an answer to whatever thing that they're looking to get an answer for. Okay, so that's your keywords. It can be a phrase, it can be a single word, it can be a question, you name it, but it's essentially something that they're going to be entering in a search field. And lots of different places have search fields. You have the Google search bar, you have Pinterest have a really good search function, Facebook's got a search function, so they could be entering this keyword or several words into multiple search engines, essentially. And the idea with this is that when you're showing up, whether it's on your website, whether it's on social media, whether it's on your email, not so much email because that's not on public domain necessarily, but social and PR and web, if you're appearing on those, make sure you've got your keywords nailed and mentioning them in the copy of your posts or your press releases or whatever it is that you're showing up in. So that's keywords. Hashtags is very similar. These are keyword, again, phrases or words, and I use the most simplest way of checking how popular a hashtag is to just simply enter the words with a hashtag, follow the word that you think you're ranking for or you think you want to be appearing under. Type in those words in the search function that so if you're putting a post out on Facebook, type in the search field the phrase, the hashtag that you want to use, and check how popular this hashtag is. Obviously, the more popular it is, the better. It will show up with a hashtag and the number of people that are liking it or following it or whatever. The higher that number, the better. However, it also means that it's going to be harder for you to show up in that if the number is like thousands or millions or whatever. So you want it to be sort of in the hundreds, maybe a couple of thousand, 100,000 possibly, yes, as well. But the idea is that if you use those as your hashtags, that's when you can get, you know, exposure into a more bigger audience, into a different set of audience. So making sure you use that hashtag will get more eyes on your content. There is also something to note on this bit, is that when you type in a hashtag and then followed by a word or a phrase that you want to use, and it doesn't return any results, that means it's a made-up phrase. It's only you that's going to show for that, and what are the chances that your audience are going to type it in just as that is. So try and find a hashtag that has actually people following it, rather than creating one that's brand new. Perfectly okay to create a personalized hashtag just for your business, but that's got to be used regularly then. And you make sure that you mention it in your copy and your content everywhere, and then you will start to get the followers that kind of resonate and things with that hashtag. So it's fine to create your own hashtags if you feel like you want to go that route, but for the benefits of growing your audience, of getting more eyes on your content, on getting more engagement in your posts, using hashtags that are already liked and established and developed by, you know, from prior usage is a good tip and a good thing to consider. It's also perfectly fine to use a mixture of hashtags. So if you have one that you just wanted to set up specifically for a particular campaign and you wanted to start using it, perfectly fine to do that. But in the same post, add a hashtag that's already used and is popular, you know, made popular by other things. Okay, so that's hashtags and keywords. I feel like there was 2 tips in that, so you're getting a bonus there. So that was 4. So my final top tip on boosting your numbers and boosting your bookings for your next launch is personal outreach. And what that means is essentially you get a list of your top ranking members, people that you engage with, people that you feel that would be perfect for your program or your course, but maybe they haven't signed up yet. And you send them a voice note or a short video clip or a personalized invitation saying, I would love for you to join this. I feel like you could really benefit from what I'm going to share. I'm going to talk about XYZ, and from where your business is and from what I know about your business, I feel this could be really valuable for you. All it's going to take is, you know, if your launch is via a challenge or a workshop or whatever, you know, that's what you're upselling. And you can also mention about, you know, the fact that you're going to be unveiling your program or your course at the end of your launch. And again, why that might be beneficial to those people, to that particular person. So make it as personalized as you can. You know, it doesn't have to be sentences, paragraphs worth of content. Few seconds of why you think it's right for that person. You know, mention the few sort of value added things that you're going to cover, that you're going to, you know, help them do in your launch, and then sort of leave a link or however you're capturing the interest and bookings as a next message bit following your video, voice notes, or an individual message. So those are your 5 tips. So just to recap, number 1 is your social proof. Number 2 is objection handling in your content. Number 3 is call to action. Make sure you add one clear call to action to every post relevant to your launch. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't add more than one. You don't want your audience to have to choose, because sometimes actually they don't end up choosing any options. So make it really clear, single call to action, and get them doing something. Hashtags and keywords, using those in your copy and your content can bring valuable, audience growth opportunities. And the number 5 is personal outreach. So those are your 5 tips for growing or for boosting your bookings for your next launch. I hope you found these useful.